I class it as mental torture, you know. Not having a release date. I've been locked in the cell for 12 months now, 23 and a half hours a day. There is no rehabilitation.
I'm seeing people hang themselves and kill themselves on this IPP. I've done 38 courses, all drug tests is negative. I remain adjudication free, and I deserve to be released.
The IPPs were covered from their chest to their feet in self-harm scars. They were swallowing razor blades. They were suffering catastrophic breakdown in mental functioning.
It was a case of going from one prison to the next, getting to a prison and then applying for the courses and finding out they didn't have them in them prisons that I went to. A lot of people I've met who are self-harmers and people who just can't go on any longer.
Many IPP prisoners are desperate. Among them is Gregor Gray, who was 24 when he was sentenced to 4 years in prison for a street robbery. The judge added an IPP sentence. He's been in prison 17 years.
Every window to a parole window is 24 months. I've been waiting 36 months.
A month before his parole hearing, his offender manager told Gregor, "Forget about your parole hearing. You won't be released as we want you to do a psychological assessment. You'll have to wait 18 months for your next parole hearing. Your day release visits to see your mum and your sons have also been withdrawn."
I just knew at that point that I'm gonna do something so drastic. I'm gonna phone a taxi and run off.
On the 13th of May, Gregor Gray absconded from HMP Sudbury in Derbyshire.
The best way to describe it is like every key on a piano is an emotion that will play havoc on your state of mind. Now imagine pressing all of them at once. The noise alone is deafening, but the feeling is too much. It's killing me.
Gregor was arrested and has been returned to prison. The majority of IPP prisoners are men, but there are women too. Among them is Ronnie Sinclair.
In 2006, I was sentenced to an IPP with a 3-year tariff.
She was arrested for the theft of some betting slips and the destruction of a flower pot after an argument with a friend.
My first release didn't come until June of last year, in which I'd served nearly 16 years. I've seen so many friends swap the prison for the mental institutions because they've lost their mind. Some of them have just took their own lives because they can't live with that lack of hope. And even though I am released now, missing probation appointments, being late for appointments, even down to probation disliking some people could get you a recall.
Shirley De Bono became a campaigner when her son Sean was sentenced to an IPP 18 years ago for a street robbery of a mobile phone. On the way up to visit an IPP she is supporting, Shirley receives a phone call from Sean's probation officer to let her know Sean is late for his probation appointment and he needs to come in today.
All right then. Ta-ra. Ta-ra. He's obviously scared because he thinks he's going to be recalled.
Sean was given a fixed sentence of 2.5 years for the robbery. He spent 9 years in prison. Since his release, Sean has been recalled back to prison 3 times, never for committing a crime.
Probation just phoned me, asked your dad, will he drop you in there?
Well, I just rang them, you know, and Jane was in the background, you know, and I heard her say, we've had no choice really, but to recall him, we've got plenty of chances. That can only, obviously, they're all about me, isn't they?
Like, I'm up here filming for the IPP campaign, and my own son's back in Cardiff in trouble. Why do they want to put him in prison all the time? If he was out doing crime, yeah.
Although Sean went to see his probation officer, he was late. He was told to attend the probation office on the following Monday. He's worried he may be recalled.
I know that when I go into the probation office on Monday, they're going to lock me in a room and cart me off to prison. How hard is it to put yourself willingly into a situation where you know all your fears and your worst nightmares are waiting for you? So this is what I'm going to take, and just a few bits and bobs. And that'll be me. Like, I often think of my mum. I think of if I was to, say, commit a suicide, I think of it would break her heart. But then I think of the pros to that, it'd be The IPP is done. The IPP is this big, dark, black cloud and it's hanging over us all.
As he feared, Sean was recalled to prison officially.
I still got a picture of him in my mind now going, Mum, I can't do no prison. I'm going to hang myself. I can't do no more.
IPP sentences being the greatest single stain on the justice system, something that we abolished 12 years ago because it wasn't working. It still has this legacy hanging over.
I think we're content with the process that's underway. We do think progress is being made under the action plan.
In a civilised society, is it satisfactory simply to be content with this large number of people who are serving much longer than the tariff was ever indicated?
Well, I guess I'm not content necessarily with that. I'm content with the process.
It's a policy decision, basically. The government said, we're not going to lance this boil, we're just going to let it run its course.
If our primary objective is the safety of the public...
And if there's a bit of rough justice to people along the way, that doesn't matter?
Well, I don't think it necessarily is rough justice.
Unless there's a change in the whole process for those who are released and are on licence, we're going to end up with this revolving door where people are back on the same prison sentence with the same challenges of getting the parole board to release them, and then they're back on this merry-go-round of trying to avoid being penalised for very minor breaches. The longer people are in, the greater chance there is of them being unable to present that they are no longer a risk because they've actually been institutionalised. So we've got to get people out, and when things go wrong we've got to support and help put them right rather than simply putting them back in jail. All of us have a responsibility to simply say stop playing football with people's lives who are absolutely ripped apart by what's taking place.